Welcome back to the Ross Bolin podcast presented by Bolin Media. I am your host, Ross Bolin, joined today by producer Kade. Kade, say hello to the people.
Hello, people.
Let me start off by saying I apologize for the delay on this episode coming out. The wife and baby got sick last week, really threw a wrench in things, but I'm back. We've got 2 episodes dropping this week in addition to Patreon as we play catch up. And I've got a lot of material saved up for today's show in particular. Before we dive in, please remember to support our sponsors all year long, as that is how we keep the show alive, pay the bills, in addition to your direct support on Patreon. And if you are looking for RBP merch, hit bolinmedia.com/shop. Grab yourself a Ross Bolin podcast hat, like the one on my head, or the coveted Ricky Prosper designed In Therapy hat, which I am holding up now. You can see if you are watching on the YouTube machine. What else? We've got shirts, mouse pads, baby onesies, coffee cups, and more. Go to bolinmedia.com/shop today. All right, May is once again Mental Health Awareness Month. And over the last few years, as mental health has gone from social stigma to mainstream acknowledgement, in large part because we endured a worldwide pandemic, such a larger percentage of the population has come to respect the importance of mental health. We have a tendency as human beings to take things for granted when they seem almost promised by default. It's much easier to respect and appreciate your physical health once you've been diagnosed with cancer, for example, or dealt with any health scare, or almost lost your life as a result of physical issues or whatever. It just gets easier to respect that particular blessing of physical health. I personally experienced my first ever mental health crisis when I had a severe panic attack on my 21st birthday. And before that, mental health was not something I ever thought about or even considered or understood on any level. It was never a problem for me, never an issue I faced, never something I had been exposed to through friends or family. Nobody talked about it, so I didn't think about it. But since that first panic attack 14 years ago, mental health has become one of the major focuses of my life in many different ways through several different eras in many more ways than I could have ever imagined. So I went from 21 years of not even considering it to 14 years straight of it being one of the main focuses. And frankly, it was one of the reasons that I started this podcast back when I did in 2016, 17. Nobody really knows for sure. But those first few years with panic disorder, it basically dominated my life, as I was having full-blown panic attacks with a disturbing degree of regularity. Anxiety and panic attacks continued to be a major problem for me right up until I quit drinking entirely at 30 years old. So for 9 years, really, you could argue panic disorder had a regular and extremely powerful impact on my life. It was very annoying. And for me, quitting drinking was the first major step in getting my mental health back on track. And then, as you know, if you've listened to this show for long enough, I encountered something equally, if not more debilitating and terrifying: depression. Ironically, my battle with depression began when I was getting off antidepressants. I had never experienced really bad depression before and was only on antidepressants, or SSRIs as they're known, to combat anxiety and panic disorder. But the process of getting off that medication sent me into a tailspin of depression that I am frankly still recovering from on some levels. It was just 2 years ago in 2021 when I began the process of getting off medication, and it absolutely wrecked me. Depression is brutal, and I sympathize with anyone who deals with it. All of that is to say, my life has unfolded in a way that has given me a very unique perspective on mental health and a great amount of respect for mental health. To me, mental health is even more important than physical health. If you don't have mental health, your physical health doesn't really matter because it becomes impossible to enjoy it at a certain point. We have to hold them both in equal regard as human beings, and that isn't something that historically we have done a very good job of. As I've said repeatedly on the show over the years, I highly recommend getting into therapy as a means for dealing with just the struggles of life, regardless of if you have, mental health struggles. But if you do struggle with mental health, therapy, in my opinion, is imperative. Not until I really began taking therapy seriously over the last few years did I start to unravel and address the root of my mental health issues, which has led to a lot of relief in terms of anxiety and depression and a lot of love for myself and understanding of myself that simply did not exist before. Millions and millions and millions of people battle mental health issues, mostly in silence. So this Mental Health Awareness Month, if you're someone who is suffering in silence, talk to someone. Talk to your friends if you've got some that are willing to listen, or family. And if you don't, for whatever reason, talk to a therapist. If you think it's time to finally start therapy and help yourself out, make that appointment. Or if you're someone who is currently experiencing the blessing of a clean bill of mental health, just be there for your people. That's what Mental Health Awareness Month is all about. Just reaching out to each other, making sure that people that are close to you who you think might be struggling are okay. And that can be as simple as a text message or a phone call or an email, depending on your age and demographic. Maybe that would make sense. If one of my friends sent me an email, I think I would burn their house down. But you know what I'm saying. Whatever you have to do to check on your people, do that. Be there for friends, family, whoever you know that may be struggling with something. And if you're looking specifically for more mental health content from me, I do what I have branded mental health minisodes on patreon.com/Ross Bolin podcast twice a month. They range from 15 minutes to 45 minutes of me speaking on a specific mental health related topic. Most recently, I have done episodes on setting expectations for your life and how your expectations affect your mental health, prioritizing presence and the importance of remaining present in our modern world filled with distractions, managing conflict that may arise in your life, and harnessing the power of your positive attributes through the practice of self-love. So those are just a few examples. I think I've done like 50 of these over the last couple of years now, something like that. I love doing the mental health minisodes. It's a smaller, more intimate community of RBP listeners there on Patreon that get those episodes. It's the $10 a month tier, the Enforcer tier on Patreon if you want access to the mental health minisodes. And remember, you are not alone. No matter what you are going through, we are all in this together. And there are people out there who care about you and your well-being, even if it may not feel like it sometimes. Today's episode is brought to you by Indochino. Looking sharp all wedding season long shouldn't be expensive. With a custom-fitted suit from Indochino, you'll create priceless memories without costing a fortune. Customize every detail on your suit, shirt, dinner jacket, and more in a range of colors, from a traditional black or gray to burgundy or olive to a classic Hemsworth navy. I can tell you personally, the Indochino experience is incredible. Whether you go to one of their showrooms in person and get measured up or just do it from home, I have done both now. I went to the Indochino in Austin the first time through, but for my most recent order, I measured myself at home, checked out all their wares strictly online. The end result is still the best custom clothing experience possible. I got the Stockport wool linen olive suit with a Halesworth basket weave shirt. It's a look you can find on my Instagram account that many of you have complimented me on. It's my favorite suit and shirt I have ever owned, and I got all that just from ordering on my computer at home. Every Indochino suit is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every detail, create a suit that fits you and your style perfectly, with options for fabrics, lapel shape, custom monograms, statement linings, and more. They're always adding new pieces and options so you can stay on trend and in style. Explore their relaxed yet refined approach to spring suits with their new spring fabrics. RSVP, knowing you've got the perfect look all wedding season long from Indochino. Just go to Indochino.com and use code RBP to get 10% off any purchase of $3.99 or more. That's INDOCHINO, Indochino.com. Promo code RBP. As you may know, Kade and I are both enormous fans of music, as many people are, Kade.
Yeah, I don't think we're special in that regard, but
Yeah, but we're particularly large music fans, I would say. We love music. And one of my favorite things about living in Austin, Texas, is the Austin City Limits Music Festival, which takes place here annually. Well, this year's lineup dropped this morning, and it is far and away the most exciting lineup in recent memory for me. And it may be in part because I've finally aged into the exact demographic that ACL aims at. I'm not sure. I look forward to hearing Kade's thoughts, but I am so stoked for this thing. I just remember when I was younger, there were several years. I would say it was like a 25% chance. You know, I've been living in Austin like, 11 years now, but even before I lived here, I used to go to ACL Music Festival when I was in college because Texas State University, where I went to school, is only 30 minutes down the road. And like 25% of the time, I'm like, this lineup is sick. And the other 75% of the time, I've been like, who the fuck is this aimed at? Who is this for? And this is one of those years where I'm like, this is me. This is for me. I'm loving it. What did you feel looking at it just off top?
So this is my third year, for going to ACL. And
you've been twice already?
Yeah, I went the first year I was here. I just went Sunday. I saw Tyler, the creator.
Oh, yeah.
And that was actually, I only went one day, but it was like a really good lineup for Sunday.
For a single day, yeah.
Yeah. I don't even remember who was on the other days. But then the second year.
Because you were faded.
Yeah. But the second year was very disappointed. Didn't have anyone that I really was excited to see. And this year, there's still 90% of the people on this list, I have no idea who they are.
Well, yeah, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can definitely make a little weekend.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about these music festivals that I've come to understand over the years is it's like, as long as there are at least a few acts, even if you're averaging one act per day that you can get really stoked about, that's all you need. And even speaking to the fact that you went one year where you just didn't give a shit about the lineup. I've gone several times where I was like, there's not a single person that I'm really, really excited to see that I'm like, I cannot miss this show. And still had the time of my life out there because the music festival experience, as I've said before, is more the thing that I really, really enjoy. It's
just being out and around a bunch of people.
Sure. I mean, once you get past it used to be when I first started going the first couple years, the crowd was like a point of anxiety. It was like a negative more than a positive. But once you kind of get used to it, or if that's not a thing you struggle with, but if you settle into it, the vibes. That's what I'm there for, kid.
The vibes, yeah.
I'm there for the vibes. I want to soak in the vibes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The festival atmosphere, the outfits, the energy. That's what's great out there. Regardless of if you're into the particular music acts of that year. But when I first started going to ACL back in 2008, 7, something like that, long fucking time ago. I'm old. It was one weekend. It was still it was only a one weekend festival. And then I think it was maybe, some point in the last 10 years, they changed it and they added on the second weekend. So there are a couple of these acts, only one of the headliners, but a couple of these acts are only featured on one weekend or the other, but only one headliner, which I'll get to in a second. So let's just listen to these headliners and react for me, if you would, as an audience. Let me know what how you feel. Kendrick Lamar, Foo Fighters, Mumford & Sons, Odessa, The Lumineers, Shania Twain, Alanis Morissette, and Hozier.
You're forgetting one.
What?
The 1975.
Oh, yeah, but they're only one of the weekends, I think,
they're weekend two.
Weekend
Shania
two
Twain's weekend one.
Okay, yeah, so those are the two that are weekend specific, yeah. Just off the top, Kendrick Lamar, I'm insanely excited about. I've seen this dude perform live twice. Once was at Austin City Limits Music Festival, which he started off with the song, "If Pyrus and Crips all got along, they'd probably gun me down by the end of this." The one that goes "Yock, yock, yock, yock," and when he hit that part, it started a mosh pit in my general vicinity. And I fucking bailed.
So you didn't watch him?
Nope. I left. I was way too stoned, and I somehow had ended up I was a grown adult at this point. I was in my 20s, out of college, and I ended up in like a fucking frat pile. It was a disaster. And I was just like, I can't do this. I'm going to go home. And like, I lived at that point in an apartment, like a 10-minute walk from literally where I was standing. So I was like, I'm just going to take this opportunity to go check on Bruce, because my dog Bruce was at home probably peeing and shitting all over the walls or whatever at that point in life. But the first time I saw Kendrick, I guess that doesn't really count. The first time I saw him was in Houston. He was opening for Kanye West on the Yeezus tour. And I knew a little bit about Kendrick at that point, but I wasn't like...
So he hasn't even dropped Good Kid, Mad City yet?
No. And I was like, I was not hyped for him being the opener. We just happened to get there early because we were trying to get a good spot. So we saw Kendrick in full. And by the end of his set, I was like, holy God, that dude might legitimately be one of the best rappers right now. Which, saying that now sounds a little bit silly because everybody knows he's one of the best rappers of all time. But he's an incredible performer. And I've seen clips on Instagram and shit of his most recent album, which the name is currently slipping my mind.
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Yeah, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, which I loved. I've talked about it some on here, but I played the fuck out of that album. Like I've listened to it for probably hundreds of hours at this point. It's a great, great album. He won, another Grammy for Best Rap Album or whatever for that one. But so I'm really stoked about Kendrick. That one was kind of a given, right? But to get through some of these other ones, Foo Fighters, like, do you even know about
I love Foo Fighters, actually.
Foo Fighters are fucking great, dude.
No, I was excited for that one too, absolutely.
Foo Fighters is almost like if Nickelback didn't suck.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just like super mainstream rock and roll that everybody can get behind. And they crush. Dave Grohl is one of the most talented musicians probably ever. He was the drummer for Nirvana, if you're too young to know that. But he's the lead singer of Foo Fighters, and they are amazing. That is going to be an incredible show. I haven't listened to a Foo Fighters song in like 2 fucking years, but...
Yeah, I don't listen to them much, but like I do know they have some bangers.
And they have a lot of bangers, and I'm very excited for that show. Mumford & Sons, again, like, I can't remember the last time I put on a Mumford song by choice, but they've got great shit, and more importantly, that's a festival band. Like, that's a great show for a festival with again, to the vibes and the energy. Like, that's Mumford at ACL. That's like a no-brainer. You cannot miss here.
Yeah, that seems pretty spot on. Granted, like, I'm sure I've heard a Mumford & Sons song, but like I just like couldn't tell you. Like, I don't have any of them on my Spotify.
I mean, I don't think they've had like a huge hit in the last 5 years or so. But like when I was in college and they hit the scene, like they took the fuck over for like a calendar year.
Yeah, I'm sure I heard them in like some car commercial or something, but
it's entirely possible. Odessa, I don't really know.
I know about them a little bit. I have like 3 songs by them that I like. They're like an EDM group, and like they got some good vibes. Yeah, like there's gonna be a bunch of people there, like just like rolling on all types of stuff, having a good time.
Exactly. That's my impression. Was that will be the drug show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Lumineers, I've actually seen at ACL before. This is definitely one of my favorite bands. I fucking love the Lumineers. I have listened to their shit for many years now. And again, it's just a great festival band. That's like, it's one that like, whether you know them or not, just like with Mumford, you're going to have a great time at their show. They put on a hell of a show. They've got great tunes for jamming outside with a bunch of friends and passing a fucking joint. Which is what I'm going for at Austin City Limits Music Festival. Like, if you can't fit that bill, then you better do something special to make it work. But if you fit that bill, it's easy. Shania Twain. I didn't even know Shania was still out, like, doing her fucking thing. I'm pretty sure she sings "Man, I Feel Like a Woman."
Yeah, that's the only one I got by her.
I mean, frankly, it's gonna be a fun as fuck show. That's all I know. That's all I know to say about Shania.
I won't be there, but there will be a shit ton of people there, I am sure.
Yeah, she's weekend 2 only? Or no, she's weekend 1 only. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I may be there. It depends on the schedule, who she's up against on the other stages.
Yeah, that's what I'm like most like concerned about. Like after seeing like everyone, I'm like, God, I really hope I don't have to like
this is a big part of it.
Yeah, choose between like a couple of artists that like I want to go see, and like they just end up having to be at the same time. I know like Kendrick, like I don't care who's playing.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
even if it was like Foo Fighters, I'm like, sorry, Foo Fighters.
Yeah, it sucks, but it sucks to suck. Yeah. Can't fucking miss that. Sorry. That's the one thing about these shows that always like we get the lineup, and I'm like, all right, fuck yeah. But then it really comes down to the scheduling.
Yeah.
And
like,
that can screw it up.
And like, you know, like how on the lineup sheet, they had like the names like bigger, like each like few rows.
Yeah.
And like there's like a few like a couple like the same rows. I'm like, oh fuck, like that's not
It
good
scares
news.
you?
Yeah, it scares me a little bit.
Also, Alanis Morissette. Look, I'm not an Alanis Morissette guy. I mean, I just like, it's, you know, but I've also heard her music, particularly that one album, which I think is called Jagged Little Pill, if I'm not mistaken. I'm Googling it to make sure I don't sound like an idiot here. Yes, it's Jagged Little Pill. That is one of the most popular and best-selling albums in the history of music. And if she even just went off that, it will be an incredible show. Like, she crushes. I mean, I'm pretty fucking sure she did like Woodstock 99. Like, that's how long ago she was like in her prime. But that'll be awesome. Again, I think that's one that would be a lot of fun regardless of if you're an Alanis Morissette
Right, because
fan.
you know like the big hits at least.
Absolutely. You'll recognize them even if you didn't know they were hers. And then Hozier, I mean, who doesn't want to go to church, you know? Who doesn't? Who among us doesn't want to go to church? But
I mean, he's got to be the Sunday headliner, right?
Maybe. That would make sense,
yeah.
I think. But again, I mean, we'll wait and see how the schedule shakes out. I mean, regardless, I'm excited. But other acts I am personally stoked for. What do you think the first one is?
Lil Yachty.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I am very excited for this one too because I unfortunately didn't get to see him when he was here last time.
Yeah, Kade was supposed to see him probably 2 months ago now, month and a half ago, something like that. Yeah. And the fucking show got canceled because of a lightning storm.
But I am like kind of glad it got canceled. Well, I mean, granted, like I'm gonna see him again this year, but like his new song that he dropped recently, "Strike Holster." Have you heard that one?
No.
Oh my god, it's so good. I've been listening like on repeat for like a month now. That's one you gotta check out.
I wonder if he does. Like, I loved the new album. I know a lot of people didn't. It's kind of a controversial one,
right? Because
he just went in a totally different direction in terms of sound. I described it as like Pink Floyd for people who like hip hop, but I wonder if he'll play Poland. Like, if he does that on his.
He has to. I feel like that's such an iconic song right now.
That song alone will put his entire set up into the stratosphere. Like, that song alone, the crowd will sing it. I mean, it's gonna be incredible. I have to be there for that. So I'm stoked for Yachty.
I imagine like a lot of these people are just gonna play like their hits. They're not gonna like do like a full.
No, you don't fuck. You don't fuck with that shit
yeah.
when you're doing music festivals. You gotta bring the heat. You can't come out and just play the new stuff. Although I saw Paul McCartney at ACL, and instead of like, he did some of the good, you know, the Beatles shit or whatever, but he also he did like songs from Wings, which is a band he was in that I didn't even know about. At one point he was like, "Are there any Wings fans out there?" And like held up the Wu-Tang W, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? There's just like two people
out there just like put the W's up.
Two people in their 60s like just like, yeah, Wings.
Yeah.
Two British people in the back. No, it was just like a little confusing, but typically they roll with the stuff that they know is going to get the reaction from the crowd because this is their opportunity. From a musician business side, music festivals are where they can make a big nut, right? Because like, not only are they getting the performance fee, which is usually pretty hefty if you're a big star, but it's the streaming and the word of mouth and like the resurgence of your shit that you know, for Spotify, Apple Music, etc. That opportunity, because you're performing for such a large audience. It's like, you know,
and you're gonna get like a bunch
people.
of new fans potentially.
Exactly,
off of it.
Also, Kali Uchis, I mean, that's supposed to be a good show. Like, I don't really know her shit.
Yeah, she's got some good stuff. I'll probably go see her, like, again, as long as like she's not up against anyone else. But and then someone I'm looking forward to from like this little section is Labyrinth.
Dude, that's my next one.
Oh, that was your next one?
Yes.
Nice, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he did a lot of like the music for Euphoria.
Like almost all of it.
Yeah. And so
fucking love. Is it one person?
Yeah, it's just one dude.
That dude rules. I thought it was a band.
No, it's just
like, I thought it was like a group of fucking people. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, one of those songs from Euphoria, I banged the shit out of for a while from season 1.
Was it Mount Everest? I think that was on it. I don't know. It's like his whole discography was like on that show, I think.
I don't know which one. Still Don't Know My Name.
Oh, that's a good one.
Was one of them for sure. Oh, All For Us is the one that I just listened to like non-fucking stop for 6 months. Love that shit. So Labyrinth, I'm stoked for. The Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I don't really know much about, but our lawyer, Brandon, went and saw them this past weekend and said it was just fucking insane. Like, that it was incredible. Like,
What kind of stuff do they do?
No fucking clue.
idea?
No fucking clue. I assume it's like rock.
Okay.
Just because Brandon's older and white. I hope he's listening to this. I didn't see this until I like really went through the list more line by line, because he's a little bit further down there. But Big X the Plug.
Yes,
dude.
I'm so excited for him. Yeah,
Let's fucking go.
He's like very down far on the list.
Well, he's a pretty small up and coming.
But I feel like he's blown up a lot this year.
Regionally though.
Yeah.
Like in Texas, right? Like he's a Dallas rapper who only started rapping in the last few years. I think he got out of prison and was like, "Welp, no more armed robbery for me. I'm going to do the rap music." And he's crushed it. So he's kind of blown up. He has a big hit in Texas right now that is called, wait for it, Texas. And it's an awesome song, though. Like, he brings in, like, all the cowboy western vibes.
No, he just has a ton of bangers now.
That whole album. I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to Google it right now because I feel bad not just straight up saying it. But the entire new album he dropped, that is a 2023 album, is fucking awesome. And it's
Amar?
Yes, there you go, Amar. Big X the Plug, I'm stoked for. Not a Dallas guy, don't like Dallas. I'm willing to give this dude a shot.
Book,
yeah, he's cool with me, man. His mom is from Houston, so he's like half Houston.
Yeah.
In my book. Portugal the Man. I don't think they've missed an Austin City Limits Music Festival in the past decade. They're just always
They're
fucking
here
there.
every year.
Great festival show. Glorilla is on here.
Yeah, I was like going through her Spotify like before. And I was like, I don't know any of these songs, but like I added one of them. It was called F and F.
Don't know any of her songs,
but it's a rap show, and like that's like my go-to. So like I'm just gonna like pull up and like hopefully have a good time.
It's just dangerous living life that way, Kade, because sometimes rap shows are garbage.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's not gonna be all that great, but like I kind of want to see the dumpster fire.
That's down with that. Also, I've heard, just from a general hip hop standpoint, I try to stay as plugged in as my old ass can to like who's up and coming and actually legit. And she gets a ton of props from like old head hip hop people that she can actually rap, that she's legit. Like she did a press tour when her new album came out. I think it was end of last year. And like every major hip hop podcast and radio show I pay attention to had her on and was like giving her a lot of praise and props. Just to circle back to the fact that rap shows can be a dangerous thing to attend. Have I ever told you about like the worst show I ever saw at ACL?
Was it an A$AP Rocky?
It was 21 Savage.
Oh, okay.
A$AP, although he came out 30 minutes late and shit-faced, it was still good. It was just short and
I think that's
shit-faced.
Jared's least favorite, because I remember he told me about that.
Yeah, but Jared's
not
he's hipster scum.
Yeah.
But 21 Savage had an insane crowd. I saw him like when he was fucking first blowing up. Like this is pre-Drake collaborations and shit. Like this was when it was just you knew this
was
dude.
Like OG Savage mode.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was so unbearably shitty. Now he is still not good live. I've seen clips and shit, and he's just a little ridiculous.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the energy.
Now I'm kind of curious about this the tour he's on with Drake. That people are spending like over hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
on.
that'll be sick though. Because Drake will be there.
Right.
And he knows what he's doing. And he can carry the show. 21 just has to come out and like...
Say 21.
Drop bars that everybody knows.
Just ad-lib pussy, you know?
Dude, yes. That was like... His show was 90% ad-libs when I saw him. And I was just like... He had a awful hype man. Sometimes it's the hype man who ruins a rap show. He had a terrible hype man who would not shut the fuck up. He just yelled over and over. The entire show was so bad. Anyway, those are the people that, like, specifically, just off the top, I was really stoked to see. Even the ones that I'm not familiar with their work because I've heard things about them or heard things about their shows. And what else? Who else did you have on here?
Yeah, another one similar to Glorilla's, Coi Leray. She's like another like female rapper.
She's real skinny.
Yeah, she is.
Little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just kind of want to see like what she's all about, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's another one called FKJ, which also stands for French Kiwi Juice. He's like a musician from France, and he's super talented, great vibes. Like he doesn't sing or anything, he just like plays, but like just really good stuff.
He's up pretty close to the top.
Yeah. And then another one's the Teskey Brothers. They're a blues band, and they
Oh God, yeah.
yeah,
Let's go.
They got some very sad stuff.
Sad stuff.
Yeah, so
Still, blues are my shit,
yeah,
dude.
might cry at ACL, but it'll be good.
The first time I wandered into a random blues show in New Orleans, I was hooked. Like, it's not something I play like in my car or working out.
Yeah, no, like a lot of their stuff's on like my sad playlist.
Yeah, dude. Like, but a good blues show, like, I don't drink, so like in my case, like smoking a J, taking in some fucking high quality blues.
Yeah.
That's a vibe.
That's a good one. And then literally right below them, the Sacred Souls, their R&B like soul group, some of the most beautiful music I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So
you're getting me stoked.
Yeah. So I think that's about it. Like those are like the only people I really know on here, but like there's
enough. There's
enough. As long as they like don't play at the same time, then like it could be a really good weekend.
Well, a shitload of these artists that are like, on the smaller font, they've got either W1 or W2 next to them.
Right.
Because they're only doing one weekend. So it just makes it kind of difficult to, decipher exactly who the fuck is when. But
yeah. But no, Big X Plug's only weekend one, so.
Yeah, well, that's huge, kid, because I've got a surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
I already copped us tickets
Oh, you already
this
got
morning.
us tickets? Hell
for
yeah.
weekend one, though.
Good. No, that's great. Yeah, that was the one I wanted to go to anyways.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
excited.
Well, thank
Very
you. I
stoked.
appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, Bowling Media to the fucking moon. A couple other ones that I know the name and I have heard their great shows that are just close to the top. Chromeo, Tegan and Sarah. Maggie Rogers is a crazy story. I don't know Maggie Rogers' music all that well, but Jared actually introduced me to her on the podcast, I want to say like 2 years ago, because her story is that she was in school doing music at one of the famous music universities. I don't remember or want to sound ignorant.
The Pharrell story?
Yeah, the story where like she was in a classroom where each person had to do a piece of music in front of Pharrell Williams, one of the noted most successful and talented producers and just creatives in general ever, with his famous song from the Minions, Happy. But I still love that song. I fucking love the Minions though, so that makes sense. But anyway, the point is, she did a performance in front of Pharrell that he was like, oh yeah, no, you're gonna be a huge star. You're legit.
Yeah,
he was like, no notes.
No notes. Yeah,
no notes. You're good. Next. So now the point being, she's on the top fucking row. Like she's the top row that isn't headliners. It's Kali Uchis, Yaz, Maggie Rogers, right there. Which is that's a wild come up, dude. Like from that. And also, my point is, Pharrell is a genius. Like the fact that he could just spot that.
He knows what he's talking about.
Fucking crazy, man. But yeah, very excited for Austin City Limits Music Festival this year. Our weekend is October 6th through 8th. So Kade and I will be out there. Come find us or whatever, Maybe I'll bring the baby. Can you I know people take baby. Dude, we took baby RJ to fucking Disney on Ice. Here's a quick aside.
Yeah, you haven't even talked about that. That was weeks ago.
All right, we got to talk about it. It was a couple weekends ago, not this past weekend, the weekend before that. We took my stepdaughter, who's 4 years old. She fucking loves Frozen and Encanto, which are both great movies in their own right.
Right, yeah.
But this was Disney on Ice, and it was Frozen / Encanto. So, like, we had to take her. We had to. So we took her, and we took the baby with us. And, like, for starters, baby RJ crushed this. We got him a set of those baby headphones. Little dude slept through the entire show.
That's huge.
It was awesome. But it was insane.
Like, how do they pull that off?
So the first half was Frozen, and then the second half is Encanto. And like Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and Daffy Duck are sort of like the hosts.
Oh, hosts. Okay.
So they like come out before the show, like, "Hey, everybody, we're gonna have a great show today. Isn't that right, Minnie?" or whatever. And they like fucking, they like cue it up somehow. That like, Frozen's coming out. I got a pretty good Mickey, and then after that ends, like Mickey, they do Frozen, and it's not the whole fucking movie. It's like the finer points, They like work.
Are they just doing like all the songs basically? Or most of them?
all the best songs. Yeah. They play the hits and they kind of work the storyline. But anyway, it was fucking crazy. It's like almost like Cirque du Soleil level shit, except on ice skates. Like, these dudes are doing like backflips and front flips, flying up in the air on ropes and shit without harnesses. Like, it was wildly entertaining. I was so pissed off that I had to go to this, dude. Like, this is like my whole fucking Saturday. I was like, God damn it. I had like completely forgotten. My wife reminded me, and I was just like, I was fuming in the morning. Just like, this is so fucking stupid. We're going all the way up to the north side, like across town. It's a fucking 40-minute drive. It's windy as shit. It was like one of those random days where it was incredibly windy. The baby's gonna cry the entire time, and this is gonna destroy my entire day. And I was so wrong. I've never been happier to be wrong about anything. It was awesome. Wildly entertaining. The 4-year-old, my stepdaughter, ate it up, dude. Like, just the look on her face alone was worth the price of admission. Because she was like, I could tell she didn't really know what we were going to do. And like, we got her in the seat. She's sitting next to me. And like, when Mickey and Minnie came out, she was like, okay, I see something interesting happen here. But she was like, where's Frozen, Roro? And I was like, they're coming, baby. Now just wait. And then when Frozen came out, dude, she lost her shit. When the fucking snowman came out, Olaf, I thought she was going to explode from joy. But it was legitimately entertaining. It was just freezing fucking cold.
Makes sense.
I didn't really plan on that, so I just froze my dick and balls off the entire show. Like, people bring blankets and shit, but it was very, very cold in there. Disney on ice, it turns out. The ice
makes it a little cold, yeah.
And they got to keep it cold so the ice doesn't melt,
right.
I think is part of it too. And then it was funny because like 20 minutes into Frozen, she kept being like, where's Encanto? And I was like, baby, I have the same question. Because that was the thing going in. I was like, how the fuck is it Frozen / Encanto? Like, what are they going to be doing this as like a mashup? How does this work? But no, I was split pretty evenly. Like, halfway through the show, they finish up Frozen, and then Encanto comes out, and they did that shit. And I love Encanto, man. Like, that's one of the movies that my stepdaughter was obsessed with when I was like weaning off of SSRIs. Going through the hardest time I've ever gone through in my life, and she used to watch it over and over. So there was multiple songs where I was like about to tear up in the audience, and I was like, I can't fucking cry at Disney on Ice. I'll never forgive myself for this. Like, I just can't. But it was moving. It was some moving shit on ice. And those skaters, man, like Disney crushes. Like this, they do this shit. They did the show, like 2 hours later, they did it again. And then 2 hours later, they did it again. 3 of these in one fucking Saturday in Austin. They go city to city. This place was sold out.
This is like a tour for them?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And this shit was sold out. Every fucking seat in the house is filled. And they're just going city to city, just fucking raking in money. And it was impressive, man. It was something else. But yeah, so speaking of performances and music festivals, I went to Disney on Ice.
Well,
Frozen
it's a damn shame they're not going to be at ACL.
I know. I don't see them on here.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to be at the Frank Ocean set, but then that got canned.
Ah, yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. That is the one thing about this that I was a little bummed about, because Frank did Coachella. I had in the back of my mind, like, maybe there's a chance.
He has to make up for it, and he's going to come to Austin.
Yeah, but I guess since he bombed that Coachella set, he was
I don't
just
think
like,
we're ever going to see him live again.
Fuck it, I'm back into the shadows. Yeah, hopefully we get that album, though. That would be nice. If you're heading to a music festival this year, you know how challenging it can be to stay hydrated out there, so grab yourself some Liquid IV, our hydration multiplying sponsor here at RBP. Today's episode is also brought to you by Liquid IV. If you're trying to improve your health, hydration is a great place to start, and Liquid IV is the hydration brand that fuels your well-being. In just one stick, you get 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than you would with water alone. Use it first thing in the morning or before a workout or when you feel run down or after a long night out. Great for long flights as well. We have a massive supply of Liquid IV here at the Bolin Media office. They keep us pretty well stocked to an absurd degree, in fact. Keeps producer Kade and I the most hydrated people possibly in the entire world, though. Not only is Liquid IV incredibly effective as a hydration tool, it tastes phenomenal as well with a variety of great flavors like Concord grape, lemon lime, pina colada, tropical punch, watermelon, strawberry, and passion fruit. 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. It contains 5 essential vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, made with premium ingredients, non-GMO, free from gluten, dairy, and soy. Plus, Liquid IV is on a mission to change the world. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings in 50-plus countries around the world. Grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code ROSS at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code ROSS, R-O-S-S, at liquidiv.com. All right, I've got some insane headlines of the day for you from the past really couple weeks, because I had some for last week that I didn't get to do because we didn't do a show. The first one is sperm donor who fathered at least 550 kids banned by Dutch court. From Al Jazeera, a Dutch court has banned a man from donating any more of his sperm after he fathered at least 550 children in the Netherlands and other countries and misled prospective parents about the number of offspring he helped to conceive. So this motherfucker is like Genghis Khan, essentially, now. Did you know Genghis Khan has like thousands and thousands and thousands of descendants?
Yeah, no, I am familiar with that. I thought it was Vince Vaughn, though.
No.
Or is that just a movie?
No, that's just a film.
Oh, okay.
That's a Hollywood production.
Oh.
It says a judge at the Hague District Court ordered the halt and an injunction on Friday brought by the mother of a child conceived with the donor's sperm and a foundation representing other parents. The mother, identified by the foundation only as Eva, welcomed the court's decision. It says, quote, "I hope that this ruling leads to a ban on mass donation and spreads like an oil slick to other countries." Interesting choice of words. She said, "We must stand hand in hand around our children and protect them against this injustice." The court noted under Dutch guidelines, sperm donors are allowed to produce a maximum of 25 children with 12 different mothers, and the donor lied to prospective parents about his donation history, which is how he was able to get his numbers up into the 500s, which is, frankly, that's too many. It's just too many. The donor, identified as Jonathan M. under Dutch privacy guidelines, provided sperm to several Dutch fertility clinics and to a clinic in Denmark, as well as to many other people he connected with through advertisements and online forums, the court said. I didn't even know that was a thing. You can just go like searching for people on the internet who need cum and then give it to them.
Just deliver it to them?
It doesn't seem hygienic. It says, quote, "All these parents are now confronted with the fact that the children and their family are part of a huge kinship network with hundreds of half-siblings, which they did not choose."
That family reunion is going to be crazy.
Oh, dude. It's, imagine, like the aunts, one of these kids like 20 years from now gets like, you know, like my dad bought me a 23andMe for Christmas several years ago. They get on there and it's like, you have 550 brothers and sisters. Like, fuck, dude. It says this could possibly have negative psychosocial consequences for the children. Jonathan M., the cum monster, was ordered to immediately halt all sperm donations and pay $110,000 or 100,000 euros per case if he breaches the ban. So if this guy can't stop coming in cups and handing it to people, for each instance of him providing cum to another, he must pay 110 grand.
Jeez, yeah, no, that's not the child support you want to pay.
No, he's got to change up his whole lifestyle, man. This was clearly his thing.
You know what he needs? He needs a finishing cup.
Dude,
to
finish in that cup.
Yeah, and then
dump it in the sink.
Do whatever you want with it. Just don't send it to
other people.
Yeah.
Don't get online and sell it, you nut. Dude, that's just like, I feel like from like a high level energy standpoint, having 550 kids out there with your DNA would be draining. No pun intended, but like I think it would fuck with you.
How much was he getting paid? Because I'm assuming
he had to have racked in cash.
I don't know if he's just doing it for fun. Well, he might, but
it sounds like he was getting paid. But I don't think they pay like a whole hell of a lot for man cum.
Right.
Because there's a lot of us, and we all like to come. We do. So I don't think it's that hard to get, you know? Whereas like female egg donors, I think they get quite a chunk of change for each of those bad boys. But when it comes to male jism, I don't know that we're
just
we're
throw
like
you a couple bucks.
Yeah, we're not demanding a very high pay there. So anyway, crazy shit from where were we? The Dutch, the Netherlands. Dutch is not what you call the country. It's the people in it. They're Dutch. Next headline: Texas Agriculture Department employees told to dress based on biological gender. Here's a hot button issue. From the Houston Chronicle, a new dress code at the Texas Department of Agriculture requires employees wear clothing, quote, in a manner consistent with their biological gender, end quote, or face possible discipline, including firing. A directive that advocates for LGBTQ plus people say targets transgender people and could run afoul of federal anti-discrimination laws. The dress code is outlined in a memo signed by Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller, who just off name alone sounds like a piece, and sent to employees last week. The Texas Observer, which first reported on the memo, published sections of the new dress code Monday. Without getting too political, this doesn't even work for like NBA players. Russell Westbrook shows up to games in a dress at least once a fucking year. How do you even is there like a legal precedent established somewhere like men will wear pants with button downs, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand. I don't think that this is legally, like on a technicality level, enforceable. Because like, I just don't, who is the one, there's no, like if you're looking for fashion police, the fashion police are the ones who are throwing the book out the window and wearing all sorts of crazy shit. So who is the one person, or who is the organization that is supposed to hold these people responsible for how the fuck they dress? I'm dead serious, like serious question. How the fuck can you enforce this? And then secondarily, I'm of the opinion that we shouldn't give a shit what the other humans do. Stick to yourself, mind your fucking business. If other people want to dress a certain way, it's none of your goddamn business. It has zero impact on you in any way, shape, or form. Fuck off. But who? There's no established rules here. At no point that I'm aware of in the Constitution or in any United States law does it say, like, dresses are for girls who were born girls and only that. And if that is the case, then somebody needs to tell Russell because he doesn't care.
There's a few guys that like love to wear dresses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kid Cudi's done it.
Yeah. Young Thug, Harry Styles.
Young Thug routinely does it, or did?
Andre, I don't think he's wearing many dresses.
I don't think they're allowing that.
That's probably one place where you
can't get away with it.
Yeah.
Everybody's in a jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Dick or no dick.
Like Andre 3000, a bunch of rappers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is some Texas shit. Weird Texas shit. Speaking of which, on the way here today, I was driving through my neighborhood and I passed, like just in the road, in my neighborhood, like one street over from mine, just a ton of horse shit. And I was like, maybe somebody had like a horse party, or,
a horse party.
I don't know. We had a bunch of horses. We had a bunch of horses over for my stepdaughter's birthday when she turned 4. So it's possible. But then I went like to the next street and there was like more horse shit. And what I realized is some fuckstick is just riding their horse around the hood and letting it dump everywhere and then not picking up after it, which, like, people get on your ass if your dog shits and you don't pick it up. These are huge piles of horse poo.
He's gonna need a pretty big bag
to pick it up. Come back with a fucking shovel. I don't know. Fuck, there's just horse shit all over my neighborhood now, which is, again, literally the most Texas shit ever. It's just gnarly.
Don't you have like a horse? I don't want to say it's a ranch, but
it's real close by. I think it's that guy.
Yeah,
there's one like in the neighborhood.
Just had to take you for a daily walk.
Yeah, I wonder how the HOA feels about this shit.
Literally,
this literal shit. This poo poo. Speaking of sports, today's episode is also brought to you by MyBookie, our sportsbook sponsor here on RBP. If you are a sports bettor looking for a place to get some action during the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, MLB regular season, or on UFC fights or boxing matches, and you want to make your picks at a place that support our show, mybookie.ag is the way to go. Just use code ROSS upon sign up, and you will unlock a deposit bonus. Stipulations apply, so you'll get even more dough to throw at your favorite sporting events. MyBookie has all the prop bets, live lines, alternate lines, and futures that you could possibly need for all the sports all year long. Great online casino as well, with live dealers and live blackjack and live roulette, all that good live stuff. And right now, again, if you join the MyBookie family using the code ROSS at checkout to support the show, you will instantly receive a deposit bonus, giving you even more dough to throw at your favorite sporting events. So what are you waiting for? If you're already betting on sports elsewhere and you're down to do so on a great platform that also supports your favorite podcast, code ROSS at mybookie.ag is the way to do it, folks. Just use code ROSS to unlock that deposit bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. In closing, on this May the 9th, nearly halfway into 2023, I am finally announcing what this is the year of. Now, this is the longest I've gone. I think one year I did March. It was March by the time I announced it. It may have been the year of the comeback just because I was going through some shit and it took me a while to get to it. I have a pretty good excuse this year. Yeah, we had a baby, It took me, I had to get my feet back underneath me. But I have figured it out. I know what this is the year of. Drum roll, please. It is the year of no fear. And I'm not talking about the 1990s clothing and sports apparel brand that I grew up with. Kade, did you have no fear clothing when you were a kid?
No,
This was way before you. Yeah. It was sick. You would have enjoyed it.
No fear.
Yeah, just look up no fear clothing. But again, This is not about that. I'm talking about the fear that restricts so many of us in our day-to-day lives. Whether it is fear of your own potential or a fear of the unknown, a fear of the future, fear dictates so many of our lives, and we often don't even realize it. So, in continuing the theme of this Mental Health Awareness Month episode and the mental health theme of this podcast's existence overall, 2023 is the year of no fear. So what does this mean for us as a community, as the RBP gang? It means trying new things. We've allowed fear to keep us from trying in the past. It means letting go of fear that is restricting us from achieving our highest potential in life. It means addressing our fears in a healthy and meaningful way to free ourselves from them. And now I'm not saying like if you're afraid of heights, you have to climb a mountain necessarily. That's more of a phobia anyway. I'm just saying we all have fears that block us from greatness on the daily. And if we can focus on striving to defeat and overcome those fears for the remainder of the year, I think 2023, or what remains of it, can be enormous for us all. Kade, what is your biggest fear?
Well, it's not really like a fear you're talking about, but like I hate spiders. Like that's probably my biggest fear, but that's more of a phobia, like you said.
No, this counts. You have to overcome your fear of spiders by embracing them. Have you ever seen the movie Arachnophobia?
Nope, don't plan on it.
Yeah, that would fuck you up,
Yeah,
dude.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, it fucks everybody up. Even spider lovers can't handle that one. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's like a 90s horror film.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna stay away from that one. But no, we were talking about. Well, you were talking about Mental Health Awareness Month, and I just had therapy this Monday, and it was a rough one. And we were talking about like shame and like how that leads to fear of like, and like one of the things I really struggle with is like social anxiety, and just like that fear leads to like me like not connecting with people. So like I think that's like one thing for me specifically that like I definitely like want to work on, like overcoming that fear of like feeling worthy of connection.
Yeah, that as I've said before, and like you and I have talked about off mic, that's probably the biggest one for me. I think it was the reason, like not everybody handles it this way, but I had a lot of social anxiety, especially when I was younger and still did social things. But I would like overdrink as a way of dealing with that. Because like the more I drank, the less anxiety I felt. Obviously, that's one of the things that alcohol does, frees you of your inebriation, or your inebriation is not the word I'm looking for. Some of you are yelling it at your radios right now. You know what I'm saying. Your inhibitions. There we go. But that's a tough one. It's probably one of the most relatable ones. Is like that definitely counts as a fear. It's like a fear of interacting with other people, or a fear of like being yourself, right?
Yeah.
Being worthy just as you are of conversing with and socializing with other people. And I definitely relate to that
also,
one on
like,
a
just
spiritual level.
Being like fear, like being vulnerable, like
That's a big one too.
Yeah, just like being like who you feel like you are, and like not trying to be someone just to live up to like someone's expectations, or like just to like come off a certain way so like someone will like you. Stuff like that.
A fear of what other people think about you, or who you are at your core, or whatever. That's another big one. I'm afraid of that centipede I found in my backyard the other day. If you brought up spiders, that thing was horrifying. If you didn't see it on my Instagram story, I was in my backyard again last weekend with my stepdaughter, and she was on a scooter in the grass, and she just yelled out, "Snake!" And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't know snake. Oh my God, run! When I saw this thing, and it wasn't a snake, but it was big enough to make us both think it was a snake initially. It was what's called a Texas red-headed centipede. If you Google that, these monsters get up to 8 inches in length. They have like 5,000 legs, and they have a giant red head, which is why it was so easy for me to find it on Google. I just typed in red-headed centipede. And there's one in Texas that we have that's like a common one, apparently. But it also is in other regions and areas, and it's not called Texas red-headed centipede when it's in other places. But that thing fucked me up. It was absurd. And my backyard backs up to what's called the green belt here in Austin. If you're not familiar, let's just call it's a forest. It's the wilderness. And so we get all types of weird critters and shit. Fortunately, as a result, I have a snake grabber in my backyard. And it's like a really long pole with a, grabbing mechanism.
Right.
And I used that thing on this centipede. And when I grabbed it, it like fucking stung the snake grabber. It was like attacked. And I tried to chunk it over the fence, and it was holding on so tight that it wouldn't come off the stick. So I had to like shake it off. I shook it off. It hit the ground, and it crawled right back under the fence, right back at me. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
It was ready for round 2.
I thought I was going to have to kill this thing, but
I would have.
I had already Googled it, though, and it kills snakes and rodents. So I was like, we need this. I'd rather deal with this than a rat or a fucking snake. So I picked it up and chunked it again, and the second time I got clearance, and it flew a good 20 yards.
No, it's plotting right now. It's revenge. It's coming back with friends, yeah.
My stepdaughter kept being like, what? Because you could tell, like, she was really curious about this thing. Not necessarily that she was scared, but, like, she had never seen anything like that. She kept asking me, like, what if it just wanted to be friends with us? And I was like, yeah, babe, but we can't be friends with that thing. I said, there's some animals that we just can't be friends with. It's, like, so hard to explain to a 4-year-old, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to real fears. Now, on a serious note, it is one of the things that when I started doing therapy, my therapist gave me this quote from, I want to say it's like Marianne Williamson. Yeah, man, my brain is on fire today. And she gave me this quote about fear that kind of changed my perspective and my life to some extent. The quote from Marianne Williamson reads, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." I'll just read the whole thing because the whole thing is great. "We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." And that is actually not something I planned on sharing on today's show, but it occurred to me, and so I did. You don't have to hold it in a religious light if you don't want to. If you're not religious or you're not a God person or whatever, you don't jive with the higher power. But on the whole, the first time that's still my therapist, and this was probably 3 years ago, she shared this with me. I had it on the fridge for a while, a piece of it on a note card.
Well, I first heard that quote from Coach Carter.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's in Coach Carter?
Uh-huh. When I don't know, one of the players, like, he keeps getting like kicked off the team or whatever, and he comes back and he just like reads that quote like
No
word
shit.
for word. Yeah.
That's fucking great. So also from Coach Carter. But if you never saw Coach Carter, then from my therapist. But I love that one. It kind of encapsulates what I want this whole year of no fear to be about. And it's one that really, really helped me start to sort of look at things a little bit differently in terms of what my fears were. Where a lot of mine were, just like Kade was saying, related to like my self-image, self-esteem, worthiness, like the shame stuff really plays a heavy part for me. So yeah, all that. And I know it took a while, but I appreciate y'all for your patience and getting to the announcement about the year of no fear. That will do. What's up?
Did you have one last year? Do you remember what last year's was?
Year of the dog?
That wasn't 2021. What has like every year been?
Okay, we did the year of the robe.
Yep.
We did the year of the comeback.
Did the year of the sock, right?
The year of the sock? Did we? Was that really one?
I think so. Because you had a
sock sponsor. Yeah. Fuck, that's ridiculous. Year of the robe, year of the sock. Year of the comeback, which is still funny that it was 2020. I announced it pre-pandemic, and then the pandemic
was it
broke
year
out.
of the volunteer? I think that was.
Oh yeah, year of the volunteer. Good memory, Kade. Oh, we had an international pandemic that prevented people from. That was 2 back-to-back bombs. Year of the comeback, then the COVID hits, and then 2021 was year of the volunteer. And there was still too much COVID for anyone to go volunteer. I thought it would be over sooner. So I was like, fuck it. Even if it lasts like a couple more months, like people will still have plenty of time to volunteer the rest of the year. And then no, it just went on the entire goddamn year. So those ones were whiffs. But Year of the Dog was great. It's a solid one. We got a great t-shirt out of that with Bruce and Bella on it that you can still buy at bowlinmedia.com/shop.
Gonna need a t-shirt for this one too now.
I feel good about this one though, the year of no fear. I feel like this is wide-ranging, applies to a variety of people for a variety of different reasons. It's certainly better than the year of the fucking sock. What the hell was that? Jesus God, that was a big sellout move there. I just went for it. It's like, fuck it, we got this badass sock sponsor. I'm going for it. But yeah, anyway, speaking of sponsors, please support our sponsors by hitting the links in the description of this episode and using our dedicated codes and URLs, as that is how we pay the bills here at Bowlin Media. You can find all the links to our sponsors for today's show in the description below. To check out our other shows, go to bowlinmedia.com. We've got Jared's F1 show, Formula Bone, back in full swing, covering all the latest F1 madness. I watched the race this weekend.
I did too. It was pretty boring.
I mean, it was all right. It just like Red Bull.
They're just way better than everyone else, yeah.
And I know everyone who watches F1 is like, all right, yeah, but you got to pay attention to like spots 3 through 7. That's where the drama is. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not used to that. As like an American sports fan, it's
right,
like
you're not trying to root for third place.
No, it's Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last type of shit. So it's like it's a little bit weird to me. But yeah, Jared's Formula Bone available wherever you listen to RBP. But most specifically, Jared is like 300 subscribers away on youtube.com/@formulabone from 100,000 YouTube subscribers. So get on there today. Every single one of you listening right now, even if you don't give a shit about F1, go youtube.com/@formulabone, subscribe, support J-Bone up in Wisconsin. This is what he's doing full time now, Formula Bone, obviously. So J-Bone, Formula Bone, youtube.com/@formulabone, also @formulabone on all social media. We've got Oysters, Clams, and Cockles covering Succession's final season. We are through 7 episodes now. This has been one of the best seasons of television I've ever watched. I've watched a lot of TV, and we've had a blast covering it on OCC, as it is called, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever you listen to RBP. We do a companion podcast for every single episode of Succession, just like we did with The White Lotus Season 2 before that, just like we did with House of the Dragon Season 1 before that, just like we did with The Last of Us Season 1 as well. Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. And yeah, hit bowlinmedia.com/shop to grab yourself some RBP merch. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at WRBolin, at WRBOLEN. Kade, where can people follow you?
You can follow me at Kade Orris on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok as well, and that's KADEORRIS. People still like I'll see like comments sometimes, they still spell it with the C.
Yeah. One of the most, Kade's gotten a lot of love on our Patreon recently from our good supporters there on Patreon. As you know, when he first started doing the producer Kade role and being on the show with me and co-hosting, that was like the first time he'd ever done a podcast ever. And he's gotten better week by week by week by week. Really enjoy watching your personal growth on the pod. It's really fun, but also our listeners have noticed it to a great degree because we get all these comments and people keep spelling your fucking name wrong, though. Maybe one day you'll get enough respect for them to spell it with a K. Kade
not
with a
not
K.
yet though, but yeah, we're working towards it.
One day. This episode of the Ross Bolin Podcast is presented by Bolin Media, and video of today's show was produced by Kade Orris with a K. Go to youtube.com/@the-Ross-Bolin-Podcast for full video of our show, plus funny clips and shorter segments. We will be back later this week with another public sponsor-based episode, and then again this Friday on patreon.com/Ross-Bolin-Podcast with an ad-free exclusive episode just like we do every week, except for last week where I didn't get to. Until next time, peace be with you, and also with you.